Yo, 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 what is up, YouTube Boxing Nation? This is boxing. Breaking news. Just wanted to say that I got like a Twitter update from Mr. Abner Maris. He just said right here on Twitter not too long ago. I just wanted to clarify some rumors that have been going around for some days now about me fighting Gervonta Tank Davis, and I want to say that the lies are false. Gervonta Davis has something good lined up for his career and legacy, and as my stablemate, I support him. I just wanted to make this video to talk about this because I think, a lot of people really thought that Tank would be stupid enough to fight Abner Maris, and I wouldn't think it would be that type of move, but here's my whole take on this and who I think Gervonta Davis will fight next. I think Gervonta Davis is probably one of the best fighters in boxing in terms of skill. As far as legacy proven, accolades, he has plenty of work to do. He needs to clean out multiple divisions, and I think the very, very first thing he should ever do is that if I was Tank, I should go after Devin. I think it's time for Tank to defeat Devin Haney if he really wants that smoke, but I don't think so. I think him and Devin will fight each other at 140. I think that has to be next, or it has to be sooner than later, within a year or two. Tank is now 28 years old, so I think now is the perfect time to see Gervonta Davis rise to the occasion. I don't think Gervonta is in any position to really screw up his career any more longer, and I think it's now time to see where Gervonta Davis's legacy will be measured. I think honestly, like where things will go, people say Tank could be fighting Ryan Garcia. But I'll get to that very soon, and I'll talk about what I believe on that. But as far as to Abner Maris, shout out to Abner Maris for coming out publicly to talk about this. I never really thought of it to even be, anything to be true, because I think Abner Maris would have been destroyed and annihilated by Gervonta. I think this fight between Tank and Abner Maris could have been the fight years ago if Abner Maris did not get injured with his cornea being destroyed out of his entire eye. So I think either way, Tank is in a good spot. He doesn't really need to do anything but just fight the best at this point. I think with Abner Maris, I don't know if he's ever getting back into boxing. I would hope not. I don't think he's really, I don't think he's really ever in need to really get into boxing, because you're making money now through Showtime, and Showtime's paying you good money. And if I was in your shoes, like I would do it, because you're getting benefits, you're getting paid, you're getting your lifetime, insurances in for your retirement package. So it's like, if I was you, like I would just sit back, bro. It's like, look, like I understand to some boxers that may want to respond back to me to say, oh nah man, like guys like Abner Maris should keep on fighting until his body says no. But it's like, the problem with that is that you cause yourself to get hurt in certain situations, where when you do face like a really young killer, or you just get into those fights where your body just can't take it no more, that's what causes the wear and tear in your body to prevent or to present more issues for your long-term health once you get out of the sport. So to me at least, I think it's best to see a guy like Abner Maris just calm down and not box anymore. I just don't think it's right to just have some of these older fighters keep on fighting, and for anybody to think that Abner Maris can still keep on going, I don't think of it to be like that. I think he's on his last few legs, and I think it's just time to just see him move on. Like, I mean, Abner Maris, he's better off doing things outside of boxing, and I always like listening to him whenever he talks about boxing sometimes. But like to me personally, like I just don't want to see him, in the sport anymore. I think you've already done what you had to do And there's really nothing else that I can really say that you really need to be doing because, look, you've already like accomplished what you've done. It's like you've gotten your world titles, you've done what you had to do. There's nothing else left for you to do in the sport of boxing. And if you believe that you need to be boxing, I would rather see you in an exhibition fight versus just going out there fighting some young killer. You're not really making as much money that you think you are. And I'm pretty sure he probably would be making a crap load of money if he was matched up against high level opposition. Like I said earlier, or not too long ago, like your body's gonna take a massive toll on that, and you're not gonna be the same fighter because you're gonna take more punishment that's going to affect your health. So to me, at least, it would be best to see you not get into that. And I would I would rather see retired fighters get into exhibition fights, because at least that way you're not hurting yourself, but you're only going like 20-25%. Like, at least that's better for boxers, because they'll still keep their names relevant in the sport. And I think it's probably better to even see them beat up on YouTubers if YouTubers really want that work with them. But other than that, it's like, that's pretty much it. Like, you don't need to just keep on boxing. Like, I mean, look, if you want to do exhibitions, like, kind of like what Jake Paul's doing, beating up on, retired MMA fighters or just people that have never laced up a pair of gloves to get into boxing, then that's fine. You can do that. Because boxers like Floyd Mayweather, he did it, so why can't you do it? I mean, shit, look at what Manny Pacquiao's doing. He's retired, but he's going to be fighting on Triller real soon against some other guy that I don't know who his name is, but I guess he looked up to Manny Pacquiao, and him and Manny Pacquiao, they're going to, settle it in a exhibition. But shit, like, that's what guys like Manny Pacquiao and all those other legends that are getting into exhibitions should be doing. I think it makes all the better sense in the world to do it. I think it benefits a fighter's career. And I think that's how things will go. But how I see this going down is that I think Gervonta Tank Davis, he's going to end up fighting. I don't think it's going to be Ryan Garcia. I think Oscar De La Hoya, he's using excuses to make that fight not be made. So Ryan Garcia is off the table. But you know what? I won't be surprised if he fights. You know what? I really don't know, but I'll just go off on a wild limb and say he might face a guy like Alberto Puello. I think Gervonta's either gonna fight Alberto Puello, or he's gonna fight Hector Garcia for the 130-pound title, because Tank can definitely make 130 if he's able to and disciplined, but if he can make 130 and he can blow through Hector Garcia, that's a good victory to have. I'll give him a lot of credit if he does that. Or he could just face Alberto Puello, because that's a very, very dangerous fight. Or he could wait for Regis Prograis and Jose Zepeda. So I don't know. I think Gervonta is going to be facing either of those names that I've mentioned. I also wouldn't mind seeing a fight between him and Gary Russell, but I don't think that fight will ever happen. So realistically speaking, you know what? I wouldn't mind Tevin Farmer. Get Tevin Farmer in there. At least that's a decent, opponent just to stay busy. But then again, he doesn't have anything to offer as a fighter, and he's not. I don't think he's super duper focused in having his fight solidified, at all with any fighter. So I don't know, man. I think Gervonta in the state of lightweight right now, he has some options to face maybe guys like Edwin De Los Santos. I don't think he's going to face Pitbull in a rematch. The WBC just recently ordered Shakur Stevenson and Pitbull, so I'm not too sure if Pitbull is going to say yes to that, because if he beats Shakur Stevenson, he's going straight after that WBC title. So I think Shakur is definitely going to go after Pitbull. I think if I'm Shakur, let me beat up Pitbull. That's a style that I know that I can easily exploit. So I think Shakur and Pitbull, they're going to be set to face each other. I think another good fighter in the lightweight division that might be valuable for Gervonta. Shit, I don't know, man. Like, there's just so many, like, I don't know. Because, yeah, let me take a look at the lightweight division. Because I don't know who else is really on here. But I guarantee you it's probably going to be, whatchamacallit. yo, you got all these idiots with, like, now trying to say Gervonta is going to be facing Abner Morris in January. Man, these people are so stupid, man. They're so stupid. But yeah, let's take a look at the lightweight division. Honestly, there's really nobody here that I could think of, but I don't think Gervonta is going to fight Cam Bussy. Lomachenko and Devin are probably going to end up facing one another. Pitbull and Shakur are probably going to be held up. Frank Martin and Michelle, we've already talked about that. Man, I don't know, man. I don't know, because like the rest of this division is mad weak right now, so I think Tank is gonna be lined up to probably go up against Alberto Puello. I think that makes up the best sense politically, because if you beat up on Alberto Puello, then two things will happen. Number one, Tank will be a legitimate 2-division world champion, but on top of that, you could be lined up to face against Regis Prograis and Zepeda. And then after that, if Tank wants to stay at 140, I mean, he could very well vacate the WBA belt. But from what I've heard, the WBA regular belt is about to be taken out in boxing for good. So I actually heard word of that from Devin Haney. He talked about that like I think months ago, leading up to the Kambosos, rematch. But he said that the WBA is planning on getting rid of the regular titles. So there will be no more regular champion. It's all going to be consolidated into one champion, which that's how it should have been. If you want to be the champion, you should have one belt. And then if you are unified, you should just be promoted to super champion. That's how the WBA should be. Like, if you don't want to, let's just say, face anybody that's your mandatory, I mean, you could unify, and then that up-and-coming mandatory just has to wait it out, leading up to the point where you need to defend your mandatory first. And which obviously with all the other belts, I think how it should work is that the very first person that comes first to file in their paperwork to become the mandatory for either belt or for any belts that a champion holds, then you basically get first bid to go for that belt. And then the next person that you have to defend your belt for the other mandatory, that should be like a cycle. So let's just say if Devin Haney, if he becomes undisputed at 140, how it should work is that if, let's just say, the WBA came first with their number one mandatory getting a belt, then what should happen is that whoever comes first with their paperwork to become the mandatory can get the title shot with the champion that's undisputed. And then let's just say if Devin beats him or the other guy beats him to become the new undisputed champion. Hold on, give me 1 second. Alright, I'm back. But yeah, basically what I was trying to say was that whoever gets a title shot for that champion, it should be cycled between the sanction bodies. So therefore, everybody that is a mandatory coming every single year to wait for their shot, at least that's a better cycle to do it by the sanction body that comes first to honor the mandatory, and then the rest of the other sanction bodies would just have to wait it out, and then that mandatory can just either stay active in non-mandatory contention placement bouts, and which they could just stay active, just fighting fighters just to keep their skills sharp. But at least that way you can have it set up like that. See, like, the biggest problem that I have with getting your mandatory spot as a challenger is that when you look at guys like who's that one guy, Kujatio Abudakrov? Take a look at him. When he lost to Cody Crowley, no one ever talked about him. Like, literally, no one ever talked about him, and he never had any, how should I say, like, he never had any, traction for being, appointed, as a, potential mandatory, whatsoever, to be up there as a fighter. And I think, honestly, like, the biggest problem that I have with any sanctioned body is just that, people just don't, understand that the corruption that fighters have to go through just to be put in that position. And I just find it very disrespectful and just weird that, guys like him, he never got his shot. In which, granted, he was number one in the IBF for quite some time, but knowing Errol Spence wanted to unify the division, it's like, it's still kind of messed up either way, because it's like he was supposed to get his shot as a mandatory and he never got it. And I think, honestly, maybe that's why some fighters like him don't want to go back into the mix, because he understands where his position is at in the welterweight division, because he knows that there's some high level killers on the rise. And I think where he needs to be just to get back in it is like, he's probably going to come right back. He's probably going to face like a guy like Michael McKinson. I would just try to run it back with Cody Crowley, or if anything, just face Kusio Clayton, or face Thulani and Benge. Like, get one of these guys, at least face somebody. But it's not like he can't come back into the mix and beat any of the top guys. But that's just how difficult that I'm starting to see how hard it is to like get back into world title contention, especially on the male side, because at the female side it seems like almost every other time like a female fighter gets their shot a lot quicker than the men, because the men got to go through a lot of tough names just to get themselves back on track. But either way, like, if you are winning and you're not trying to lose as often, which is not really bad, because if you do lose, it's like, it only sets you back for what you're getting better at. So, like, that's like something that people need to stop looking at. They need to stop hyper ventilating over the fact that, oh, if you lose in boxing at all, if you lose your undefeated record, then that means you're automatically never going to get your title shot. You're never going to be great. You're never going to be this, never going to be that. And it's like, it's not the fucking end of the world if you lose. Everyone loses in life. You have to lose in order to win. That's the circle of life, hands down. But in regards to Gervonta Davis and his position, let's take a look at where he's at. He doesn't have any more names available that's at least marketable. There's nobody that I could see here that's going to give him any good payday. But I think his best option is to move up to junior welterweight or super lightweight, and you should go after a guy like Alberto Puello, because if he could beat up on Puello, then what's going to end up happening is that he can get his title, beat his ass, destroy him, and then after that, he could easily just go ahead and unify with Prograis or Josh Taylor. Because I think, what's going to happen is that Regis, he's going to smoke Zepeda. That should be a fight that he should absolutely dominate and destroy. Subriel Matias and Ponce, I'm still hearing that fight date needs to be set up. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I think Ponce, he's avoiding Subriel Matias. I don't think him and Matias, I don't think Ponce is going to come to the table with Matias, and I think he's going to make up some bullshit excuse to not fight him. And then what ends up happening after that, if he's granted justice, he should be able to fight for the vacant belt against the next available guy under Ponce, and Ponce should be taken off of the rankings, and he should be penalized where he doesn't fight for the belt until he gets high quality victories against all the other contenders. And then Subriel Matias, he can, become champion if he ever wins a title. And then, like it just makes it easier. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like Subriel is basically in that same position too. Like he's being screwed over, but people don't want to recognize him to get his title opportunity. But it's like, compared to him and Gervonta Davis, Gervonta, he's able to move up in weight and face whoever he wants because it's like he doesn't need a belt to fight anybody. But when it comes to anybody else that's putting in that work, they have to be careful with who they're fighting because certain fighters do cause a hit on their career based off of the level of risk that they do fight. And it's not to say that, they can't, whatchamacallit. It's not to say that they can't, be the type of guy to beat the other guy. It's just that how boxing is set up, a lot of these guys want to carefully move their career in a certain way. And I think, when we look at it, a lot of these guys know their place in the sport of boxing. And, it's too risky of a move, depending on where they want to move, that will be considered a certain move for what they do in their career. So in regards to Tank's moves, he could basically fight all the best names right now, but it's like, which path does he go? Like he could very well face Devin Haney right now. He doesn't need to face Lomachenko, in which Lomachenko, he wants to face Devin Haney so he can get his ass beat for a good payday, but it's not going to do anything other than just be Lomachenko getting dominated and Devin Haney, he wins. But if Devin Haney and Tank announce that they're going to be fighting next, then everybody's going to be watching that fight because Devin Haney and Tank is one of the most destructive matchups in boxing, in which that's a very difficult fight. So I think either way, who Tank is going to be facing next, I think he's gonna go back up to 140, and I think he's gonna face Alberto Puello, or if he wants to go beat up on Hector Garcia for just a quick little spin the block fight, just to get his 130 pound title status, again to get the WBA belt, beat him up, and then if he beats him, then he'll go ahead and just move back up to 135, and he could probably even do the same thing at 140. I'd rather see him do it at 140. I think he'll look a lot more sharper doing his weight cut a lot easier, and I think Tank, he scales better when he moves up in weight. I think 135, he's still dangerous, like he's very, very dangerous, but 140, he's a whole different fighter. Like I think 140 Tank is 10 times more stronger compared to 135 Tank, which 135 Tank is just as strong, but the level of lethality and tenacity that Tank carries at 140, like Gervonta, he's a killer. He's literally Shao Kahn mixed with, like, I don't know, fucking, if I could compare him to any other Mortal Kombat character, it would be Shao Kahn mixed with Rain. Like that's basically how dangerous he is. Like he doesn't care who you are, he doesn't care who is put in front of him. Like he has all the tools to figure you out, and it's not to say that he has to cheat his way to get there with his power. It's just that when you think about it, he has a Shao Kahn like attitude where a lot of people don't want to face him. But the difference between, like, I guess personality-wise, when you think of Shao Kahn, he's obviously a cheater. He thinks he's better than you. But what he likes to do to you in a fight in Mortal Kombat is that he likes to use mind control to you. And Shao Kahn is very good at doing that because what Shao Kahn did to most of his opponents that he usually ended up dominating, like Kung Lao, Shang Tsung, any of those guys that he had beef with, he knew how to use mind control very well. He knew how to lure somebody into like a fight and then basically set traps to make a fight his fight, because Shao Kahn was so smart. So he already had multiple plans in his pocket before stepping into like a fight with you. And that's what makes Gervonta Davis special, in that metaphorical design, because when you look at what he does in a fight, he doesn't just come to knock you out, he comes to figure you out. And Tank's power just carries late game. So it's like Tank can give he can give up like a couple rounds to be successful for the later rounds. Because if he's gonna give up 3-4 rounds, okay, yeah, that's fine. People can determine how the 4 rounds go, but once it hits like round 5 all the way up to round 12, it's just a whole different level. Because what he does is that he does what Deontay Wilder does. He does not come to score points. He's coming to hurt you. So he's coming to take something that you're not good at doing and basically use that to his advantage. So similar to Deontay Wilder in a way, he comes in with an equalizer, not just using his power, but using that ring IQ that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And when he's good at using his ring IQ, he puts something in front of you that you've never seen before. So when he has that technical ability to decipher what you're good at doing, once he hurts you and destroys you, it's just game over. And I'm not hyping Tank up, because Tank is legitimately one of the best pure boxer puncher southpaws that not a lot of people want to give respect for. And I'll be one of the very fewest people to give him respect, because I love all my southpaw fighters, because southpaws run boxing. It's true. Gervonta Davis, Errol Spence, Shakur Stevenson, who else? Any southpaw that you could think of, they're definitely rising on the occasion. Like southpaws are definitely a dangerous style matchup that's coming to take over boxing, or it has been taking over boxing for quite the longest. But either way, I like all my southpaws. Jerron Ennis, who else? There's plenty of them. Josh Taylor, he's not at his best anymore, but Gary Antoine Russell, absolute monster. Who else is good? David Morrell, shout out to him. He's a deadly southpaw. Man, I rate David Morrell just to be like Errol Spence. He's boots with the EJ, and he's a deadlier version of what EJ is, of who he is now. But that's a young EJ mixed with a very, very clone-like version of Jerron Ennis. Not like a switch hitter, but he's a pure, destructive boxer puncher, defensive wizard southpaw. He's basically a defensive Terminator. Like he really knows how to see something out of you once he gets in there, and it's like something that's naturally coming into his effect, because you just can't teach what he does. Like that's something that you naturally find that out when you're in boxing. And that's how I find out what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. But I work on the things that I'm good at, and I try to improve on the things that I'm not good at, because whatever I do in there, at least I'm getting better, because that's where the maximum of your skill set gets expanded to what you could be good at. But either way, Gervonta Davis, if he's on the right path, and from what Abner Morris is saying that he got something good lined up for his next fight, I think what's going to end up happening is that he's not going to fight Ryan Garcia. That's out of the table. We've been hearing that he's going to be back in the ring by January. So I don't know what's going to be happening. If he's back in January, I would hope he's facing a good ass fighter, because all that waiting from May all the way up to January, I'm not liking that, man. Just coming back in the ring for 2 fights a year, nah, man. I want to see Tank back in the ring at least 4 or 5 times a year. That's a good fight schedule. But even 3 to 4 times a year, that's perfectly fine, because I can easily enjoy watching Tank fight. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Let me know what you guys think, and be sure to let me know what you guys think about this move that was made by Abner Morris. But either way, I'll see you guys later. Salute to the mighty LDBC TWT, and I'm out. Peace out. Bye.